Olympic champion, look what Eric's brought in, the gold and the bronze from Pyeongchang. That goes with the silver from Sochi.
Yep.
Nice to see you.
So nice to see you too.
Thank you for coming in. And it is Olympic we're talking about, but really we're talking about what is on your t-shirt. Be you. What brings you to Pride?
Well, of course, I'd like to celebrate
Yes.
Pride, but I'm going to be working with the COC with getting some of these out there on the street.
It's a whole new initiative. The COC has been more and more, Canadian Olympic Committee, trying to really talk about being inclusive for Canadian athletes.
Yeah, so it's really about the inclusion and the safety for all athletes in sport. The BU movement is like an extension of the Be Olympic movement that started before the Olympics. And it's about safety and inclusion in sport for all athletes, and that athletes shouldn't be judged on who they love, but on their performance on the field of play.
Everyone can play, as it all goes. So there's a pop-up store that you're involved in today in Toronto? That's kind of fun.
Yeah, we're launching the pop-up store at the Eaton Centre today, this afternoon. And fans will be able to come in and get shirts just like this that promote inclusion. And for a minimum of $10, that goes to the You Can Play Foundation. And there's 4 options. Actually, there's this one, the BU.
Which is fantastic.
There's Be Olympic, Be Awesome, or Be Excellent.
Isn't that great? And you're there, and you're going to be speaking at the address to start this off, because if we come back to that gold medal so significant in and of itself. But as you and I talked about in Pyeongchang, that was the first gold medal ever won by an athlete openly gay. That was just such extraordinary by way of milestone. So will you be referencing that when you talk today?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Since the Olympics and since that moment, I've really just been using my story to, get these issues out in the open and to, hopefully inspire and let young LGBT youth, whether they're athletes or not, know that, there's a place for them and that they can feel safe and included when they want to pursue a sport.
And what do you feel, because you told me then that that's what you'd hope to do because you were retiring from this type of athletic competition, not from skating totally, but from this type of intense international competition. This was your aim. Have you seen an impact? Have you seen a change even in these months, Eric?
I've seen some incredible changes. I've received messages just from people, around the world, actually, thanking me for my courage, which I don't really consider myself to be too courageous. But I get those messages, and it lets me know that my message is getting out there and it is making a difference. And on a visit up to my hometown after the Olympics, a grade 8 student gave me a drawing of when I proposed to my now fiance, Luis, and with like rainbow colors in the background. And she just said, everybody knows you for your skating, but she's like, something that is really meaningful to me is, the fact that you are gay and everything that you've accomplished. And she's like, I wanted to give this to you. And I was so touched, and that a grade 8 student from a small town like Red Lake could, just have that sort of insight, and that maturity I was so proud of her, and just so proud that, that sort of momentum and that movement is carrying on.
And proud of the community. We actually have some images because you were at home. I mean, you've talked very publicly about how difficult it was for you growing up there, the bullying that you experienced, how you felt. But look at what this is, because this is from home. Tell us about this picture, Eric.
So yeah, I was recently up in my hometown, and actually just to the right of me is the house I grew up in Balmertown, and they named the street that I grew up on Eric Radford Way. It's just such a kind and incredible gesture.
And you were marching in Pride there,
And then the next day I marched in Red Lake's 2nd annual Pride, and it really was surreal. I would have never imagined that Red Lake, of all places, that little town up in Northern Ontario, would ever have a Pride celebration. And, they had the rainbow flag flying, and it's really incredible to see the progress made. And, I think that it's more common, all the major cities in Canada have Prides, but those smaller communities can be more difficult to reach. So to see it happening and to see it beginning and gaining traction and momentum is, makes me very happy.
And you're being a catalyst in that too, a source of pride to you, I know. Although you're seeing change and although you're helping affect change, I mean, we have a story up online, cbcnews.ca, gay football player finds acceptance after nearly quitting because of homophobia.
Yeah.
How formidable a hurdle is sexuality, gender still in sport?
Oh, definitely. I think that, especially in professional sports, it can be very, very difficult. I know that there are stereotypes about gay male figure skaters, so already, but my sport and the community was very, very welcoming. And I think that there is a difference between individual sports and team sports. I think that an athlete in a team sport could feel more pressure to sort of that they would have to stay in the closet. They wouldn't be able to be themselves for fear of how it might affect their fellow teammates' views of them and how it might affect their fellow teammates' performance out on the field of play. I think that, of course, there's always room for improvement. There's always more ground to cover. But I think that step by step, what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, and what I'm hearing is that there really is progress.
Well, that is the message to carry into Pride Weekend for you, the message you'll be delivering at your store at noon today. Be you.
Yes.
Thank you. Happy Pride.
We have one little gift
for
you.
me. I get to be
Yes.
me too. Thank you very much. Thank you, Eric. Thanks.
You're
Always
welcome.
wonderful. Come by anytime. I love to hear you speak and tell your story. Eric in town for Toronto. Enjoy that and sharing that important message.